It's wild to think that some of the top female pickleball players are now making more money than WNBA and NWSL stars.
Yeah, it really is. Kind of flips the script on what we think of as like the big leagues in women's sports.
You're right. So today we're going to do a deep dive into this whole situation.
Perfect.
We're talking pro female athletes in pickleball,
Okay.
the PPA Tour,
Mm-hmm.
Major League Pickleball, and then comparing that to basketball, the WNBA, and soccer and the NWSL.
Right.
And we've got this New York Post article based on CNBC reporting that lays out some pretty surprising numbers.
Sounds fascinating.
Yeah, so we're going to try to make sense of it all, figure out why this is happening.
Yeah, get to the bottom of it.
Exactly. Okay, so first up, let's talk pickleball. The article says the average pay for like the top 60 women in the PPA Tour and Major League Pickleball is about $260,000.
Wow.
I know, right?
That's pretty impressive, especially compared to those more established leagues, the WNBA and NWSL.
Yeah,
Maybe it's because pro pickleball is still relatively new.
that's a good point.
They haven't been around for decades like those other leagues.
Right.
So maybe their structure allows them to give a bigger chunk of the revenue straight to the players.
It's like a leaner, meaner machine.
Yeah.
Exactly. Less overhead.
And it's not just like a few superstars skewing the average.
Right.
We're talking about pro pickleball players earning over $30 million total in salary alone last year.
Seriously.
Yeah.
That's a huge amount of money flowing into the sport.
Yeah.
It seems like there's a real financial boom happening around pickleball.
Absolutely. So the top earner right now is Anna Leigh Waters.
Okay.
She's ranked #1 in singles, doubles, and mixed doubles.
Wow, she's killing it.
Yeah, she's amazing. And the article estimates that she'll make around $3 million this year.
Wow, $3 million.
Yeah, from salary and endorsements. And get this, she's projected to earn more than the top male player, Ben Johns, who's estimated to make about $2.5 million.
Really? That's not something you see very often.
I know, it's pretty remarkable. It's definitely interesting. Maybe it reflects how much interest there is in the top female players right now.
Oh, that's a good point.
The marketability,
Yeah.
the excitement around their stories. I mean, pickleball is a very accessible sport. Anyone can play it. And these women are incredible athletes.
Absolutely.
So maybe that's why they're drawing so much attention and earning power.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And this pickleball craze, as the article calls it, is even more obvious when you look at the formation of the United Pickleball Association.
Oh, yeah, the UPA.
Yeah, they basically brought the Major League Pickleball and the PTA Tour together.
So they're under one umbrella now.
Exactly. It feels like a big move to solidify the sport's professional status, right?
Yeah, for sure. When you consolidate like that, it often leads to more stability,
Oh, interesting.
more consistent rules, which then makes it easier to get media deals and sponsorships.
Right.
And all that contributes to players being able to earn more.
It's like building a solid foundation.
Exactly. You need that foundation to really grow.
And speaking of sponsorships, the article mentions some big names who are investing in Major League Pickleball.
Oh, yeah, like who?
LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Tom Brady,
Whoa, seriously.
Drew Brees, Mark Cuban, Gary Vaynerchuk. I mean, those are some serious players.
They're not messing around. Those are some smart investors, and they clearly see potential in pickleball. It's like they're betting on the future of the sport.
Right. And maybe they see it as a blank slate, like a fresh start without all the financial burdens that older leagues have.
That's an interesting thought.
So maybe they can invest more directly in the athletes and the fans.
It's possible, yeah. It's certainly an attractive prospect for investors to be able to shape the growth of a sport from a relatively early stage.
Right.
And without having to deal with all those legacy costs and structures.
Yeah, it's like they have more freedom to innovate and build something new.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's a bit about the pickleball money situation. Now let's compare that to the WNBA. The article says that the highest paid WNBA player is Jackie Young from the Las Vegas Aces, and she makes about $252,450 a year.
Okay, so less than the average we talked about for top female pickleball players.
Yeah, significantly less, and way less than pickleball's top earner.
Right, but it's still a great salary. It shows that the WNBA has come a long way.
Definitely. And the article also mentions Caitlin Clark's rookie salary, which was $76,000.
That's pretty standard for a rookie, even a high-profile one like her.
Yeah. It's interesting to see that even with her level of talent and attention, the financial rewards in the WNBA seem to follow a different path than what we're seeing in pickleball.
It seems like the earning potential explodes much faster at the top of women's pickleball right now.
Yeah, it's a much steeper climb.
And the article points out that even the highest paid WNBA players make about half of what the top earners in the NWSL make.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah, so that's another interesting comparison point.
Definitely adds another wrinkle to this whole discussion.
It shows how much variation there is in compensation across different women's leagues.
Yeah, even within professional sports.
And it probably comes down to differences in things like revenue streams, collective bargaining agreements, and how much demand there is for each sport.
Makes sense.
So yeah, a lot of factors at play.
All right, so last but not least, let's talk about the NWSL. According to the article, the highest paid female soccer player is Sophie Smith from the Portland Thorns.
Oh, I've heard of her. She's a beast.
She is, and she makes over $500,000 a year.
That's quite a jump compared to the top WNBA salary.
It is, and it shows that the earning potential in women's soccer can be very high, especially for the top players.
Yeah, it's like in any sport, the elite players command those big salaries because of their talent, experience, and brand recognition.
Right, and the article gives us some insight into other top earners in the NWSL. It says that the top 12 players, including names like Trinity Rodman, Alex Morgan, Maria Sanchez, and Crystal Dunn, make between $250,000 and $450,000 per year.
Oh, wow. So there's definitely a cluster of high earners at the top?
Yeah, for sure. But then the article also mentions that the average salary in the NWSL is around $65,000 a season.
Oh, that's a pretty big difference.
Yeah, it is. It makes you wonder why the wealth isn't trickling down more effectively to the average player.
Right. If the top players are doing so well, why aren't those benefits being felt more broadly across the league?
That's the million-dollar question.
It's a complex issue for sure. It often boils down to how revenue is distributed within the league,
Yeah,
how strong the collective bargaining agreements are, and the overall financial health of the teams.
right.
I mean, even if the top players are bringing in big bucks, making sure that wealth is shared more equitably is a challenge in a lot of pro sports.
It's like a systemic issue.
Yeah, it's not an easy fix.
Okay, so putting it all together, the main takeaway seems to be that the average pay for the top female pickleball players is higher than both the average and the highest guaranteed salaries in the WNBA.
Mm-hmm.
And it's even beating out the average in the NWSL, although the very top earners in the NWSL are still making more than anyone in pickleball.
Right.
But overall, it's a pretty interesting shift in the landscape of women's pro sports.
Definitely. It seems like the popularity of pickleball is directly translating into higher earnings for its top female players.
Yeah, it's a real game changer.
It really challenges some of our assumptions about which sports are considered the major leagues for women.
For sure. So to wrap things up, it's clear that the world of women's pro sports is constantly evolving.
Mm-hmm.
And we're seeing pickleball, which is relatively new, emerge as a really attractive option for female athletes, especially from a financial standpoint.
Yeah, it's fascinating to watch how these different leagues grow and change.
And it makes you think, what does the future hold for all these leagues?
Right.
Will pickleball keep growing at this crazy rate, or will the WNBA and NWSL find ways to adapt and compete?
It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, so much to think about. And on that note, I'll leave you with this question. Do you think the current earning trends in pickleball will continue, or will we see other women's leagues